Stu, just come over here, I want to show you something. Look at that. Look at it. That's why the bloody things come off.
Welcome to Poland. It's winter, as you can probably see, but it's been particularly cold this time round. I'm on my way to the yard where Krakens are made with a carload of filming equipment. It's a great time to go right now because there's lots to show you. There's a Kraken 50 that's the first to be built fully in Poland. That's about to leave the yard and be launched. Also, there's another Kraken 50 that's much earlier in the production process that's just about to be released from the mould. And hopefully Dick's going to be there and he can talk us through that. So lots to see, and hopefully I'll be able to show you a few things that you haven't really seen before.
Okay, so here we are. We've just de-moulded hull 16. It's absolutely beautiful. She's come out of the mould lovely. What you could see is a brand new move forward for Kraken. We're using a clear gel coat underneath the waterline, and the purpose of that is we can then absolutely inspect every element of the infusion to make sure there's no voids, to make sure there's no gaps, there's no faults, and obviously that way we can be 100% certain of the integrity of the lamination. But you could say, never mind that, just look at that boat. That's absolutely a beautiful lamination. You know, the lamination here is about 18 mil thick, and it's gone perfectly. Look at that, it's a beautiful finish as she's come out. Even as that boat has come out of the mould as good as this, what we do, which is quite exceptional, is we do a process called secondary finishing. And the idea of the secondary finishing is to absolutely produce a mirror hull. So we will again sand and gel coat on the outside and then repolish, so that when you actually take delivery of your boat, what you've got is a mirror perfect reflection of everything around it, and that's because the hull is so straight. If you go and have a look at the boat shows, and I've just done that of course at Düsseldorf, and you stand and you look down the length of the boat, you'll see all kinds of wobbles and all kinds of little blemishes, and that's because they're not doing that secondary finishing process, and we think that's highly valuable. And it also means that when we are doing that, we are making sure the full thickness of the gel coat is fully maintained. So yeah, it's a secondary spraying and it's a secondary finishing that we do. But yeah, I'm very happy with what I'm seeing here. Now there's a fantastic opportunity to show you something that you would never normally be able to see, that identifies a very big difference between a Kraken and all other boats in production today. What the other boat manufacturers are doing is using something called a grid matrix to provide the strength for the hull lamination. That's made off the boat, it's prefabricated, it's dropped in and it's glued in position. And the boats and the hull rigidity and the strength is reliant on that matrix grid. Well, we don't do that at Kraken. We use fully glassed in longitudinals and latitudinals, also called stringers and frames. And if you look here, you can see this dark line running all the way through. That's a stringer. And that is running from the very stern right to the very bow of the boat. You can see the stringers here all the way running through, and then the frames that lock in with it. And the frames come right down and to the very bottom of the keel. Maximum strength. You see that deep dark line? You can see that running down, and that frame interlocks with the stringer and it runs right down to the bottom of the zero keel. I hope you can see that, because these are really fundamental to the strength of the boat, and it makes a huge difference. When you've got an average production boat, everybody will tell you, you go to Windward and cabinet doors will open and there's movement and groaning and all this kind of thing going on. Well, that doesn't happen in a Kraken. This boat is completely solid, there's no movement, and it's because of the heavy layup of the lamination itself, but then added to with this glassed-in structure that we use instead of a grid matrix. It takes 4 times longer to do that, but it provides massive more strength, and that's the basis of how we approach everything. As I'm sure the viewers will know, it's all about safety, it's all about strength. And now we can actually illustrate it for the first time with this clear gel coat. Fantastic. Good to see, actually. Really good to see.
K50 number 10, finally on the trailer. Well, it's the 10th child I'm seeing leave the house, let's say. but it's pretty good, pretty good. It's a challenge, you know, because you have to get the people, you have to get all the procedure organized, you have to get all the parts moving, and it just takes time and a lot of effort. So, emotional moments, but now it's speeding up, now there's more to come, so the next one is waiting. So behind the camera there's Conrad, who's just running. Conrad was looking after it while it was in production, and Mariusz now taking over. So let's say the official moment is when the boat sits on the trailer, that's when the handover happens, and the project management team hands over to the commissioning team. Now I can say I'm happy. You know, before you asked me, the stress was still high, it was still, you know, in the middle of all of it, but now, there you go. K50 number 10. 10th one of the series, but first one in Poland. Made it, and there it goes. Amazing feeling.
Well, you tell me, I don't think we're launching today. Okay, so here we are actually in hell. This is genuinely hell, because this is the Hell Peninsula that we're on, and this is where we launched Krakens, a place called Justania, and just out there is the Bay of Gdansk, which you can see why I'm referring it to as hell, because Mother Nature has done a little stunt on us. It was the coldest weather for 20 years, and the sea is actually frozen nearly 2 foot thick. So we're not going to be able to launch today. In any case, of course, all the transport was booked, so we've had to come overnight. It would always travel overnight because that's a wide load. And it's been a fairly tricky journey because the minimum height that we had to get under was 5 meters and 5 centimeters. And by the time we took everything off that we could, the top of the compass was at 4 meters 97. So we had to be careful of any low-hanging branches and things like that. But we had a very successful trip. It's done. It is somewhere between cold and very bloody cold, and it's warming up. Everybody here is telling me, oh no, it's a lot warmer. So I can't imagine what it was like just a couple of days ago at minus 20. Minus 20. And as you can see, that is particularly bloody cold. I'm freezing. It's -5 now, so obviously almost toasty. So yeah, I mean, we might have to wait 2 or 3 weeks for it to warm up. The Baltic is a very low saline sea, actually one of the lowest saline seas in the world. So it does freeze, and it's 2 foot thick out there. And until it really gets up to plus something, it's not going to actually start melting. So we think as I say, we think we might have to wait a couple of weeks, which is a bit of a pain. We've got the sea trials scheduled, but Marius will just have to wait a little bit longer before he can actually get on her. This is being the first boat from Poland. He's really itching to get on the boat and get her out and sea trial her. So just to let everybody know, boat launches here. The engine and the generator and all the running gear is then commissioned. We then motor across, escorted by the Kraken rib, across to our marina in Gdynia, and that's where the mast is stepped and the rigging is stepped and the sails go on, and then the sea trials start from that point. Stu, just come over here, I want to show you that. Because I can't think of a better illustration of what we've been talking about than he's exactly sitting straight opposite a Kraken here. Al, look at that. Look at that. That's the join between the big steel lump that's bolted on the bottom of it and here. And why has the anti-foul come off? Look at here where you can see all the paint's cracked off, right? And that's because this is moving. And now you've got a flexible hull and an inflexible keel bolted onto it, and the whole thing's held on by bolts. Well, what do you know about metal fatigue and steel bolts? You start working them and working them and working them, eventually you've got no strength at all. That's why the bloody things come off. We often get asked a lot of questions, why is a Kraken so expensive by comparison to production boats? Never mind about the fact that that's 6 mil thick and that which you've just seen over there is 20 mil thick. Put that to one side for a second. Look at that keel, the length of it, the fact that it's a cast bolt on lump, and then you go and look at that keel that's over there, just spin round there, just from there, Stu, look. And you look at that keel, which is all moulded as one part. You can straight away see where the money goes, because it's not just in materials, which are huge, but the labour cost of doing that by comparison to doing this, which is cast in a factory, bolted on, job done, or so you might think, but it's more than that. Look, just come back here. Could there be a better example of absolutely what is not acceptable in a blue water yacht than that sail drive? Look at it, look at how vulnerable it is. In my boat White Dragon, I hit a 30-foot long teak log, it's about 6 foot thick, and I hit it at the bow, knocked a big chunk out of the gel coat but nothing else, and it rattled down the side of the boat. If it hit that thing, you're going to sink, because it's going to knock that off. And then, what don't hit that, for sure as hell is going to hit one of these two, look. It come right close here, Stu, and just look at this. Never mind, look, just stand there. If you had a rudder that was here, at least you got a keel in front of you to divert it. But this thing's sitting right out here, and look, coming close. Try and work out how you could have a better gap there to trap a lobster pot or fishing net than that. Try and work it out. That goes straight up into there, and you've got it. You ain't gonna let it go. The only way you're gonna get it off is to cut it off, and that's all bloody lethal. So, and then you look around, there's another boat straight behind us here. Look, exactly the same things. Just look at it. You don't have to be a yacht designer. You just have to look at it. Because one of the comments that I just had on this Dusseldorf boat show was, oh well, you know, loads of people do it like that, it must be okay. Well, look at it. Is it okay? You tell me you want to go and cross an ocean with those rudders sat out there, that sail drive sitting there with a big please hit me sign on it and a bolt on keel. That's why the underwater profile is absolutely critical. You have to start there, and if it doesn't tick all of those boxes, you don't go and look at the upholstery and the accommodation, you just don't go that far. Of course I'm talking, I'm passionate again, I'm talking about true blue water cruising. Stu, just come and look at this. Look at that. You know you can sail the world in that. That's the difference. I do hope people can understand, I really do. There she is. We got her out the yard. Took us a bit longer than we thought. Well done, thank you very much, boys. Really good job. Bit tricky at some points, especially at